Cheers, Canadian wine lovers. Stop by. We are going to chat with Allison Findlay from Niagara College Teaching Winery. Carl nearly fell off his chair when he saw some of the price points. Great value. We can't wait to chat more about it.
Yeah. Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, everyone across the country, from Vancouver Island to Nova Scotia, everywhere. Welcome. Michael Laplan, the average wine enthusiast, welcome. Mira Boucher, how's it going?
Pretty great, because, I look forward to Wednesday nights a lot. We get the nice wine out. Carl made his famous beef bourguignon. It's been smelling up in the house, like it smells fantastic. There's this what in my glass and what in my glass. I mean, how can you not be excited when these things are in your glass?
What's in your glass? It's in the beef stew. So
really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Come on. Awesome. I put my where my mouth is, because like I always say, right? We love drinking great wine. We love cooking with great wine because it's all part of it. It's a chilly day across Canada. Darn that we're in a deep freeze period right now all over the country. Can't freaking ship wine anywhere. But good evening.
I think it's minus 38 at some point in the prairies in the next few days.
I mean, this is a fucking disaster. The wines are not going anywhere.
But the good news is, starting mid next week, it is turning towards spring. And if not turning towards spring, at least good enough that we can ship wines very easily again. So
yeah, exactly. Daryl, welcome. Good evening from snowy Cambridge. Thank you, Daryl, for joining us. Great to see ya. Everyone, a beautiful, great Wednesday. I hope you have something to warm yourself up in your glass, a big bold red or something just like that to make your evening a little more enjoyable. Fireplace, a good food, and a nice red wine. So
Daryl's having Burnship Bay Reserve Red. We were just chatting with Dylan about that wine and what a great easy drinking and affordable kind of wine.
And do not confuse easy drinking with simple.
No.
That is very important to me, because when you talk something like Burnship Bay for $25 all in, I mean, it's not a simple wine. There's depth, there's richness, there's layers, there's spice, there's like so much for that price point. So outstanding value. That brings us to what we're doing this week. It's all about value. No, wait a minute. It's not all about value. There's so much more than just value. But first and foremost, incredible value. Incredible value wine. I mean, we had a 93-point Riesling for $16.75. I mean, if it's not value, I don't know what it is. I don't know Oak Chardonnay for under $15. Cab Merlot for $16.70. I don't have the price list in front of me, but incredible pricing for really, really good wine. But on top of that, it's the meaning of the establishment, the meaning of what they do, what they've done for the whole industry across the country. So we're featuring Niagara Teaching Winery, so Niagara College this week. And I mean, we've been talking with them since over a year now, Mira, and like we've said earlier on, it would be so cool if we feature Niagara College wine. Why? Because of the meaning, exactly what I just said, because of the meaning of the establishment across the country. So here we are this week. It's so cool, eh?
Just a few weeks ago, we featured Intersection Winery, a club favorite, amazing wines from the South Okanagan, and Mel Smits, the winemaker there, I think is a Niagara College grad.
Yep, absolutely, 100%, 100%.
We had her on the show, and she's like, we were blind tasting one of the Niagara College wines, and she was like, "Oh, I went to Niagara College." So I mean, so many of the wineries that we've featured have either a winemaker, a cellar hand, an assistant winemaker, somebody working with the winery that's from
vineyard manager, someone in the tasting room. I mean, it's been spread all over the industry, not only in Niagara, not only in Ontario, but all over the country. And that's what I was saying earlier. I had a conversation with Sal D'Angelo, talking with Sal about the growth of the industry and all that, and it led me to talk about like Okanagan College and Niagara College and the impact of these colleges on our local talent. I mean, 20 years ago, you had to go overseas. You had to go to France or to Spain or to New Zealand or to Australia for the fact to bring some talent here in the country to kickstart your winery, to kickstart your program, and or to lift it up, because that was the only way to go about it back then. And now, just having these places to just bringing the talent to such an incredible level that now they're leading our industry. And it's so cool to have that, and so cool to be able to feature that, because while they're learning, they're so well supervised and they're making some freaking incredible wines. And to have these people, to have our members to connect with this, and to have the chance, to connect like some of the Riesling's wine that's been made at Niagara College, and some of our Riesling's fans who are like, you know what? I love what Suan does. I love what Cave Spring do. I love the Riesling at wherever it can be. And to have it from Niagara College, I mean, it's just such a good starting point. So really, really cool concept this week.
Very cool. So, hey, guess what? Allison Findlay is actually in the green room already. Nice to see you, Allison. And this is not the first time that we've had Allison on, because she used to be the winemaker at Flat Rock, if I'm not mistaken.
Flat Rock Cellar, absolutely. It's been like, we're going all the way back to what, 2021?
Maybe, yeah. It was quite a long time ago. Yeah. So really cool to have her back. Should we bring her on the show?
Just give me a second, Mira, because I promised Dylan and Daniel Bonterin that I have a little sip. So anyway, Daniel Bonterin, owner and winemaker at Bottega Wine Studio, right? You guys know Daniel, to be famous for his rosé, right? The rosé master that we like to call him, the producer of Tractor and Vines, our very top rosé for 3-4 years running. Daniel also do the K Little White and K Little Red. But
in my glass.
So look at that rosé, okay? Look at that freaking rosé.
That's a 11-year-old rosé, isn't it?
11-year-old rosé, 2014 Pinot Noir rosé. That's when Daniel used to do his rosés in 500-liter food oak, like the very old school way. Anyway, I stopped by Daniel's winery last week to get some of that rosé, and he said, "Hey, I would like you to give it a taste to my new K Little." I said, "Oh, you got a new blend, the K Little Red?" He's like, "No, I made a K Little Cap Franc." I'm like, "What?" So he's like, "It's tight. It's still young. I just bottled it 3 months ago, but I want you to give it a try. Please make sure you decant it prior, because it's really..." And so here we are. So I have K Little Cap Franc here, 2022 vintage, where it's a vintage in BC that is known to have a lot of concentration, bright acid, but very concentrated. It was a very small crop. Anyhow, first time this wine is not on the market yet. It's just like it's sitting in the warehouse, but not the warehouse, but the winery at Daniel is just sitting in there. So here we go.
Already has a good thumbs up on the Mira scale. So
yeah, okay, I love it. I love it.
But it's young. Yes, definitely young.
Young, but dark fruit on the nose. Floral, a little floral, violet, potpourri aspect. Well, on the palate, there's obviously the tannin are stiff. Everything is right there, but there's a softness to that wine. I love that. Dark cherry, that little classic Black Forest cake that I really like in Cap Franc is right there. I love the texture. I really, really love the texture. I asked Daniel when I was with him last week, I said, what did you do with the oak here? And he said, it's 18 months. 18 months in neutral oak. No new oak, only neutral, but 18 to 20 months he wasn't sure. So I love that wine. Lingering white pepper on the back end, a little bit of clove. I mean, you can't miss that. This is truly Cap Franc. The little caveat here, it's not 100% Cap Franc, 95% Cap Franc, 5% of little Merlot just to soften up, bring some a little bit of cassis into it and all that. So I love it, Danielle. Love it, love it. You got my 1 and my 2 thumbs up.
They saw each other earlier, so this is perfect. And we had a nice chat with Dylan, who is a big fan of Daniel's. So there you go. Hey, you know what? You nearly fell off your chair when we discovered some of the prices of the wines. And actually, we tasted some of these blind on Wine Wednesday over the last few months.
I sure did. And every time that I was giving you a price point or like, I love it, blah, blah. Hey, can you please block that guy?
You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, every time I was shooting for a price point on the blind tasting, I was always $10 off. $10 too high. The value of these wines at Niagara College are absolutely off the freaking chart. There's like a few wines that I will mention right out of the gate. That's the Riesling, who this one really hit me hard right away.
And the Mira, that's one we tasted blind, and you were like, wow, fantastic value. Fantastic. Yeah. And all the wines really hit, like they punch above their price point, which is really cool. But the coolest part, and what I can't wait to hear from Allison about, is that this is a teaching winery. So we're literally supporting like the future of the Canadian wine industry when we taste these wines and share these wines with our friends, which is pretty
cool for an incredible price.
Yes. So I freaking love it. So shall we bring Allison on? Allison,
please, let's do it.
Niagara College Teaching Winery. Allison, so nice to see you.
Allison, good evening.
Hi, guys. Good evening.
Good evening. Hey. How's it going?
Great. Really good. How are you guys doing?
Good. I know it's getting late where you are, so we appreciate the time. And yeah, we're doing great. I mean, the Okanagan is chilly like the rest of the country, I think.
Yeah, it's been a real winter.
It's a perfect night to cozy up if you have a fire in front of the fire and have some wine.
So, yeah, how cold it is right now in your neck of the hood, Allison?
Oh, it's not bad. It's like -2.
Oh my God! Oh my God! We have we're around -16 here, so yeah, it's a little nippy here, like we can say, that's for sure. So let's start. First and foremost, welcome back, because we had you on a few years back.
It was 2021, maybe.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And the good old days of Flat Rock Cellar, when we feature Flat Rock. So tell us a little bit about your transition. How did you end up to Niagara College?
Yeah, so I started the college about 2.5 years ago now, and I'm a graduate of the college, and I had such a great experience there. Not only did I love the classes, but I was very well supported as well. All the teachers, all the faculty, all the people at the winery were just very excited to have all these new winemakers and just gave us all the opportunities in the world. And I've always loved the college. I've always gone back there. I've been stayed close to the winemaker, Gavin Robertson, and he was going on to fulfill a full-time teaching role at the college, and the winemaking job opened up, and I had loved my time at Flat Rock, and I was just kind of ready for that next step. And that next step was sharing my passion and educating people in the wine industry. So that's kind of how I landed at the college. And yeah, it's been everything that I thought it would be so far.
That is incredible. I really love that story. And I often, exactly, you're talking about the next step. What's next for me, right? And now sharing your knowledge, your expertise with the student is absolutely fantastic. What I would like to know a little bit more is about the process. I mean, you guys grow grapes. You guys have long-term contract with grower, I believe. So when it's harvest time or during the summer, by the fact, so do you have students who are studying viticulture who are looking after the vineyard? When harvest time coming, you guys bring the wine and you oversee the whole operation? How's that work? I'm dying to know more about the operation.
Yeah, so we have 26 acres planted vinifera on our farm. We also have a little bit of hybrids. So our estate is very diverse because we're really trying to get the students to try their hand at everything. We don't just have, the typical core four of Niagara. We have Viognier, we have Syrah, we have Gewürztraminer, as well as the core four of Pinot, Chard, Riesling, and Cabernet Franc as well. It's really to showcase to the students what's possible in our area and to showcase all the different styles of winemaking that are possible. You can go to any winery in the world and they'll show you how to make great Pinot Noir or great Riesling, or you're in Italy, great Sangiovese. But at the college, you may end up anywhere. So we have to show you all of it, right? So that's kind of the cool part for me, is that I'm not just as focused anymore. It's very macro. It's very big. It's very wide, which is great for artistic license. Also, a lot of SKUs to keep up with. A lot of projects going on at all times, but that's what we're here for. So the students have 26 acres they're working on. So the program goes 12 months a year. So they have access to the grapes from bud break, from pruning actually in the winter, all the way through bud break. They're working the vines through, vine management, the suckering, they're tying, they're managing a whole row to themselves. They really see the whole growth cycle. And then they'll go into their practicum, or the new students will come in during harvest. So during harvest, we have a very small team that actually work day to day in the winery, except now when I'm crushing in Pinot Noir, I have 40 eyes on me doing it. So it's really cool. It's really immersive. The first students come in and they're kind of thrown headfirst into, the crush pad and the busyness and the excitement. And I think really that's the hook. Winemaking is really about passion and getting your hands dirty and seeing it and being involved in the process. So I think they kind of see that firsthand, and that's always really fun. And the program's very well-rounded. So we talk a lot about the winemaking process, but there are a lot of sensory courses. There are marketing and sales courses. There's lots to do with viticulture. And there's also some business and management courses as well. So they really get a full experience. A student can come into the program with, one background in science and end up as a sommelier, or come in from, restaurant world and end up, driving a tractor for the rest of their life. So it really exposes you to a lot of things. So you get to see, what really fits for you.
And is it a 2-year program, or?
It's technically a 5-semester program straight through. So you can get it done in less than 2 calendar years.
If you push and if you're really into it,
you go all the way through. Exactly.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that is really cool. So you can oversee two consecutive vintage as a graduate. So it gives you opportunity to see completely different condition, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Our students do a practicum in the middle of the program.
Okay.
So they get out in the world, so they can do anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, because obviously that's when the harvest will fall for them. But we've had students go all the way to Austria and Italy. We've had students that stay local. Some of them go off to BC. Some of them go to the county. Some go back home to Nova Scotia. We have students from all across the country, all across the world, really. And that's kind of one of the most interesting parts for me as well, is not only do I teach my knowledge and the background I have and the curriculum, but I learn from them coming in as well. It's really cool.
When you look at the spectrum of grape, where does your goosebump coming up? Like, what is you say like the one that you really really like? What's your true grape passion? I mean like I love wine across the board. I've been tasting wine for 25 years, but when it's times for Chardonnay, I I get gilly. Like, I mean, this is really something that hit me. So do you have a varietals where you have to say like, this is my baby? That's the one that I love to work with.
Yeah, I think it really depends on every year. That's the
That's
hard
true.
thing.
Yeah.
So this year it's past vintage. You know, I absolutely love Pinot Noir. That's where my heart has lay for years with Flat Rock Cellars, some of the most beautiful
Yeah.
vineyards in Niagara. And now at the college, we have wonderful vineyards as well. We have a couple of rows of Pinot Noir as well. And we're actually on the bench. We're on the St. David's bench. So I didn't have to move appellations, and the appellations in Ontario actually changed this year. So St. David's bench is now classified Niagara escarpment. So I didn't have to move
Yeah, I had
my
the chat
job,
with Thomas Bachelor
and
about
I
that.
now make bench Pinot again. So excited. But this past year was one of the best years for Sauvignon Blanc I've ever seen. It just, the flavors were there, the ripeness was there, and going through fermentation, now we're blending. It smells amazing. It's not getting reductive like it usually does. It's so passion fruit. It's so fresh and fragrant, and I'm just like, I can't believe the ease at which it is to make Sauvignon Blanc this year. So I think it's really vintage dependent, and that's one thing that I love showcasing to people, is that every year is so different in the Ontario wine industry. So really check your vintages and really give every wine a chance every year, right? Maybe you don't like it in the hotter years, maybe you love it in the cooler years. So always just give it a chance.
Man, I have so many questions. I just wish I have 5 hours. Oh my God. Yeah, you're talking vintage, right? So when 2020 hit, right, you like just to give people perception on how you work with what Mother Nature gives you. I mean, 2020 was known as the big, hot, dry year where the big varietals, like the Merlot, the Capsule, the late ripening varietal came out, like especially Niagara on the Lake, came out outstanding. And vintage like 2019, when you have Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, that provides you. So how do you translate that to the student? Or it just comes naturally? Or is it something that they just picked up right away? Or, I mean, how's that? Because I'm fascinating with vintage variation.
Well, that's the beauty of college, right? So these students are seeing the grapes grow. The students that came in this last September picked grapes. They saw the weather every single day out there with us. They saw when the rain came. They saw when it was dry. They saw when, maybe some powdery mildew would set in. They saw that. We can identify that, understand what you do with that, how to spray. So these students are seeing it firsthand. Then they go off an entire year later into their practicum. Like you said, 2020, 2021, totally different years. So now they've been exposed to 2 vintages. Wow, this is not how Allison did it. Why is this person doing it differently? Oh, well, when Allison did it, it was cooler, or it was wetter, or it was hotter. So they really can see that the truth of vintage variation. It's not just something we talk about. And I always talk about that too with our students. Everything we talk about, we show them. We have a lot of great equipment at the college, and we have we have unbelievable amounts of resources in our teaching faculty and in our winery team. So these students have they have decades of knowledge. They have PhDs, they have masters, they have commercial experience. So they have a lot of tools at their disposal to really understand wine in a technical way.
That is incredible. So you have fans watching the show here. It's probably one of your students.
Yeah.
Arrow says Allison is the GOAT. She's always super nice when dealing with us, and she helped me make a kick-ass, bomb-ass Sauvignon Blanc. So, so you're talking about that 2020. So we're probably referring about the 2023 Sauvignon Blanc vintage or the 2024. Oh no, that's the 24 harvest.
It's
We're talking about. Yeah, which will be released probably for you guys when the white picked on in late 2024 will be released in 2026, or you're going to go to market more in the fall this year.
We'll go to market with the Sauvignon Blanc early. I want to preserve that freshness. I want to get it out there.
Yeah.
And we are very close to selling out of our 2022 Dean's List Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
So, and the wine was spectacular quality this year. So we're going to have another Dean's List Sauvignon Blanc coming out in the late spring.
And now let's talk vessels, because you have at your disposition probably concrete and oak and stainless steel. Do you lead the student towards something specific, or they have more the choice, or they have their say maybe, oh, we should do this type of vessel this year, or how's that work?
So they of course come in. Not a lot of them have a lot of background in winemaking, so they kind of not sure what to do. So they're all put into groups and they're given a project to work with. And within that project, there are probably 16 different trials going on. So it's
that's awesome.
Oak and clay and stainless steel. It's temperature differences. It's yeast differences. It's whole cluster versus crushing versus skin contact. It is it's oxygen versus reductive. So all these different factors are being, shifted in the winemaking process, and then we taste them at the end. And what's really cool about this is that, winemakers, we don't have recipes. We're given what Mother Nature gives us, and we adapt to that. So we're showing our students, like, hey, we make all these decisions, and here's how you get guava, and here's how you get banana, and here's how you get cherry. It's not adding anything to the wine, right? It's not, planning from day one. It's what you receive, and you have to make something out of that. So I really think that showing them what temperature means and what skin contact means out of the gate, again, you don't know until you taste it. I can't tell you what something tastes like. You have to taste it. So when I tell you that a whole cluster Sauvignon Blanc is going to have more pure, flavors than maybe a skin contact one, it's kind of the joy is to show them.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love it. How much, what's the kind of production on a yearly basis that you guys, from harvest to the bottle? I mean, is there a standard that you guys are expecting every year? Or obviously there's vintage variation, like some vintage or bigger crops, but is there an average?
Yeah. So we're trying to hit a 3,500 case per year target. That's a reasonable amount for the work, the people that work in the winery, as well as our sales. And that is really spread across a bunch of SKUs, like I mentioned, so that the students could really see. Just honestly, I'm bottling over 20 wines in April. So it's just like a real difference from my Flat Rock days. That's for sure. my perfect three grapes.
We have some of the wine from the Dean's List here and on our list this week, and so one of our revere wine writer and very experienced and respected Tony Aspler has been involved with the Dean's List, which he review all of these wines before being put on market. Is it correct?
Yes. Yeah. Tony is an amazing friend of the college and friend of mine. And we're very lucky that he's such a big supporter of us over the years. And when we wanted to look at our upper tier wines, we thought, Tony can get involved and rate them. And then once they get above 90, they've made the Dean's List because we're an academic institution, right? So it's kind of a fun play on that. The label is a beautiful old school report card, has Tony's comments and notes on it and the score. So it's really fun. The last couple of years I've been able to taste with Tony and just hear his feedback. And it's really humbling, and it's really exciting to work with him.
I mean, there's definitely two wines that we completely agree we're on the same page. It's the brand new 2023 Viognier that I thought it was fantastic. I rated it 91 point. I love the texture, but also like it's lush, but also sometimes with Viognier, I tend to complain that the acid level is too low, but this has the acid into that Viognier. It's a lifted style of Viognier. I really, really enjoyed it. So 23, you were involved with that production completely. Tell me a little bit more about that 23 Dean's List Viognier.
Yeah, so 23, the reason it's so fresh and steely is because I actually had it 66% in stainless and 33% in oak.
There you go.
Not overly oaked. I've just started working with Viognier the last 3 years at the winery, at the college, and it's like you said, it's a difficult grape. It tends to lose that acid. It tends to be a little too, maybe oily or too flabby. So maintaining that acidity is really important. But at the same time, you don't want to pick too early because it's not good in the green flavors either. So it's a really fine line for Vio. But partially in stainless steel, partially in oak. And that allowed me to keep that freshness, that little minerality, that little florality with it as well. I think it really plays nice. And then I bottled it earlier in the 2022. 2022, I left in oak for almost 14 months, so quite a while, just to see how it would build. And different style, more oxidative, more like bigger oak. And then I reined it back in 2023 just to see, and I really like what it's done in 2023.
That's fantastic. And there's another Dean's List that to me was probably one of the most complex one. It's the Meritage, the 2020 Meritage. This wine's a bomb. I mean, for $35, I'm like, holy, for God's sake, this wine has everything at that. Well, you rated it 92 points. I thought it was an absolute beauty for that price. This is a type of wine that I'm used to taste from top producer, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that the college has been underrated for years. I think one of our hard parts is that, of course, the students are involved in the winemaking, but we also don't let anyone off the street produce a commercial wine, right? So Gavin was hired as a commercial winemaker. I'm hired as a commercial winemaker. And the biggest thing, we have a commercial distiller, we have a commercial brewer. We bring in these people, these professionals to teach our students because you want to learn from the best. So why wouldn't the products being made at a teaching facility be amazing? Because you're not going to bring in someone to make poor quality wines to teach students poor quality. You're going to bring somebody in that's pushing the bar, that's pushing the quality bar. And that's why I think the wines are just so fantastic. And then 2020, like you mentioned, that hot, dry year, great for those Bordeaux. And Gavin had been there for probably 6 or 7 years at this point. He really knew what he was doing in that cellar. And the wine is very, very big. When I started, I tasted it and I was like, not for 5 years. Like, that is crazy. But yeah, the value also is really important for us because we want wine to be approachable. Wine is often elusive and scary and daunting. And we are literally an education facility. I want to teach you about wine. I want you not to be scared of it. Like my student mentioned, she's always nice when dealing with them. Of course I'm nice because I didn't know anything 15 years ago. I knew nothing about wine, and I came from no wine background. So I really think that it's important to make wine approachable and make everyone comfortable with wine because it's such an amazing product, but it's art, it's science, it's history, it's geography. It can open doors for you. You don't just have to be a winemaker. You can be in the vineyard, like you mentioned. You can go into sales. You can travel the world. We have graduates all over the globe because of the doors that the Winery Viticulture Technician program has opened for them.
Allison, I don't know if you remember Gary Vaynerchuk with the Wine Library. He was the first wine taster YouTuber back in the early 2000s. I really stuck with him. He really took me to my passion of tasting wine because he was tasting wine not like a psalm, not like he was tasting wine like Mr. Everybody. He was talking. I could relate to what he was saying. It was not overcomplicated. And I think that's exactly what you mean by that. Like the student will relate to you. It's an approachable product. I think in our wine world, we live in a different stratosphere for so long, and that now we really want to be more approachable, more like it's easier to understand what you mean, what we mean, right? And especially with the student, it's even more important for you to relate to your student.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One more wine that I want to talk about, because it's rare that I come across a 93 points wine for $16. I mean, these two metrics doesn't really work anymore. I fell in love with the Riesling semi-dry. It's one of the first wine of the lineup that I tasted. I'm a huge fan of Riesling. I don't know why, but this wine spoke to me so loud, and I talked like the ratio, sweetness, bright acidity, but texture was incredible for the price point. And when I rate wine, I always put the price point in the equation. There's always half a point to me, or all the way up to a point, would be attributed to the price point. And this wine absolutely blew his price range out of the water, and that's why I rated 93 point. I was so impressed. So 2019 semi-dry. Have you tasted that wine lately?
Yeah, I literally tasted it on Friday, and the beauty of it is that it's 2019, but the freshness. There's so much freshness to it. That is the beauty of Riesling in Ontario. We have that beautiful, fresh acidity that everyone talks about, but like you said, you open that bottle and it's as fresh as the day it was bottled, probably 4 years ago. It's absolutely stunning, and the beautiful lime notes, the minerality. And people need to be careful with their fear of sugar, right? Like, it's not sweet, it's balanced. And Riesling on its own can be a little harsh. You maybe you don't want to take that enamel layer off your teeth right away. You put a little sugar in there. It's natural sugar, obviously, from the grape, and you balance it out, and all of a sudden you have a very enjoyable wine that's super food friendly, super ageable, and you can show off for $16.
That's incredible, because I had that conversation with Brian Schmidt at Vineland Estate multiple times. I love Brian. Like, he is just an absolute legend. And that's what he says about the Riesling, right? He said, I don't know what's the obsession of those super dry Rieslings. And he said, it's not something that I want to make. It's just like the roundness, the approachability, the aging potential, and how these wines can evolve over the years. But at that price point, I'm like, wow, $16, or like under, like, let's call it 17. And I mean, this wine can hold the road for 6, 7, 8, 9 years more. I mean, this is just getting started. It's amazing. So some people call me up and say, "Oh, did you overrate that wine? Come on, 90." I'm like, no, that's true. Like, I truly felt like this wine was an absolute beauty for the price point. So yeah, that's my rock star of the week. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome.
Is there anything cool coming up that you guys are working on with your student right now? Something that you say, hey, maybe you should keep an eye, because I know you're going into bottling. So is there something like new that you worked on, or something with new influence?
Of course. So we actually just released 2 new sparkling wines. So these wines were made in 2019 by Gavin as base wines. And then they're put on tirage, and I inherited them when I took over in 2022. And I was kind of not sure the story of them. And so I thought, let's get them out. Let's taste them. And there was a Blanc de Blanc and a Blanc de Noir. And I thought, okay, well, we have to release these as a 2-pack, because they're, first of all, they're stunning. But how often do you get to actually try the difference between Blanc de Blanc, Blanc de Noir? There's so much amazing traditional method sparkling in Niagara. A lot of it's brut, like a blend of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. But Gavin had a lot of Pinot and Chard to work with in 2019. So he made some sparkling and laid it down. And 54 months later,
Wow.
distilling those wines, and they're so beautiful and such good expressions of Pinot-based wine and Chard-based wine and sparkling. So again, it's that education piece. We're all about showing, here's the style, here's that style, here's how it was made, here's why that's important. So that's really fun. And then, of course, the students are coming up with their own special blend this year. It's 100% Cabernet Franc, and it'll be released for their graduation in April. So we work together for the 2023 first years. So they'll be graduating this April, and they'll have a wine that they picked, crushed, barreled down, fermented. They're going to bottle it together in March. It'll be a really fun kind of culminating activity for them. And then it's actually available in our retail store as well.
Oh, that is awesome. That is fantastic. One more question for you, and I'll let you go. It's late, and I told you I can keep you in until until tomorrow morning. That's so much. What's your favorite vintage that you've worked with? I know it's and sometimes I get different answer. But Brian, he listed in me like just off the top of his head, this one. He went all the way back to 1990 something. I was like, oh man, that's incredible. And Suan is another one who has a memory of every vintage coming up. Like, oh, that absolutely blows my mind. But is there one vintage that you would say as a winemaker that was a vintage that was so special for you, that's the one that you remember the most?
So 2017,
Okay.
memorable for a lot of reasons, but that winter was that summer was just horrible. It rained non-stop. We had hail in June. Like, it was a rough summer.
And it was post 16, which 16 was great, yeah. Right?
So really, really scary going into harvest. So first weekend in September, grapes weren't ripe. Second weekend, grapes weren't ripe. We were going into the third week in September, and no one had picked sparkling yet. But on the first week in September, the clouds parted, and it was sunny. So every winemaker in Niagara got the month of September off in 2017 because the grapes weren't ripe, the sun was out, and we all bottled out our last vintage. So September of 2017 was this weird unicorn month where I wasn't picking grapes, but it was 30 degrees outside every day. So really, really fun one for me. And then also just 2020, people talk about it so big. For me, it wasn't about the big, bold wines and the ripeness. For me, it was about the luxury of picking when on my terms. So I was working with Dave.
You were the boss. Yeah. You were the boss.
Yeah, Mother Nature's always the boss. But in 2020, we were the boss. We chose, let's do 2 tons today. Let's do 5 tons. Look at the forecast, 14 yellow dots in front of you. Whatever I want to pick. It was amazing for that reason. So it wasn't so much about, the wines are better, they're great, because the 19 Pinots were spectacular and the Chards from 19 are amazing. So people talk about 2020 as the vintage for the best wines ever, and really it just meant that the Bordeaux's ripened perfectly in 2020, and we didn't get snow, we didn't get rot because it was clean and dry. So our Bordeaux's happened to ripen that year. But the beauty of it as a winemaker was just that it really was on our terms, and that's kind of, I've never experienced it before, and I have experienced it since. So it was a really cool phenomenon.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. I mean, it's so great to reconnect with you. We're bringing 200 people from all over the country in June for our 3rd edition of our Pan-Canadian Wine Masterclass. We're going to have a huge, like a 3.5-day event with people from Vancouver, from Calgary, from the prairies, and some of our amazing members from Ontario as well. So I hope that we can connect then when we're down there. Yeah, you guys are doing some incredible stuff there. Keep up the amazing work. And Mira just joined back. Mira, do you have anything for Allison here?
Well, I think that my favorite part of this whole chat was learning about these vintages. Because it really transports you to what you have to deal with when you're making wine, and why that wine becomes such a snapshot in time. Like, it just becomes such a unique, there's nothing else like wine. It's not like you can have cans of tomatoes in your, pantry that have that same kind of.
Yeah, my expired tomatoes are going to have their own terroir for sure. That's a whole other thing.
No, but I mean, wine is just so special. So yeah, we're about to film the little like teaser of our little TV series, and I think it really has to remind everyone like this is why we love wine because it's such a unique product. And yeah,
we have something pretty cool open tonight. That's the 2016 Blanc de Blanc here. This is something really, I like beer and I was been blown away. We've been sipping on it for a couple nights and
oh
yeah, Danielle Lafleur just sent me a full spectrum of their wines, and oh my god, I'm just like over the moon tasting Quarry Road and
Yeah.
tasting all of these single vineyards. So there's so much to learn. We're sitting here in BC and going through all of these new sub appellation that there's finally starting to give us to build that reputation and the unique terroir that we have. And when I look at you guys, what you guys are doing in Ontario and Niagara is just absolutely outstanding. So looking forward to go visit again very, very soon. We'll be there in June to see you guys.
Amazing. I can't wait.
Thank you, Allison.
so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Guys.
We'll
Have a
chat
wonderful
soon.
night.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, I know. Wow. I
I'm
love
always
that.
so impressed. Yeah.
I'm not joking. I could have like talked to her for another 4 hours. I had so much going on in my head.
Well, I think we've convinced Dylan to move to Ontario and take the courses with Allison. So there you go, Allison. We might have a Dylan inquiring at some point in the next few years. Yeah, what a special place. And honestly, we had no idea that. Like we knew that there was Brock University and Niagara College. They're really the main two teaching institutions for winemakers that support our industry here. And but I didn't realize that Niagara College has an actual winery that you can buy wine from, right? That's what's special, I think. And that Allison, being such a talented winemaker, she's in charge. But the students get to be there for every step of the way and learn through it. So it's just you get to kill so many ethical and feel good birds with one stone here. I mean, great wine at a great price. There's free shipping and no HST till Saturday.
I mean, there's everything in that offer. Absolutely freaking everything. And when you look at it also, Mira, I think for their program, it's also like it's more than just the future of winemaking. They're touching every aspect of the wine business. They're doing marketing. They're doing DTC. They're doing viticulture, winemaking, every aspect of the wine industry. So if driving a tractor is not your forte, and if you want to sell wine, you're going to touch that aspect as well. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. And that's why, I mean, they've been there for so long. I mean, like almost 25 years, I believe now. And that's why everywhere you go, especially in Niagara, there's an alumni from Niagara College working somewhere in the winery. If there's not one, it's 2 or 3 people. I mean, this is truly, that establishment has truly helped to shape our industry today and who we are. So it's kudos to the whole team, people who lead the program, and at every step of the way. So it's really cool. Congrats, Allison. You're doing an amazing job. And the wines that we're tasting, I mean, for that price point is like, just wow. I mean, like that. I mean, I go back to the Riesling, and I mean, like you blind taste me on that. I'm like, okay, this is a $28, like just the $30 price point Riesling, which is absolutely fantastic. No, 16, like under $17. I mean, this is absolutely mind-boggling. So yeah, and I mean, our members, like you guys that we're talking to, I mean, you've been following us for 5 years. That's what we do, talking about Canadian wine, supporting the effort of our small producers, right? Like the Black Bank Hills of the world, the Black Market Wine Company, the De Silvas, you know, these small producer. And now, I mean, this week with Niagara College, this is so fitting, like to support the core of our industry with all of that. So it's really, 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 really cool. So
Really cool.
yeah,
Mike,
really cool.
great question. So you are correct. So we had this great discovery last summer with members. We got to meet Ron Giesbrecht and visit Wendingholm. And again, great value wines, great wines. And Ron, you're correct. Ron, I think, was the viticulture prof at Niagara College.
Yeah, at NC, I believe. I think you're 100% right. Ron was at Niagara College, and for a long time, as well as been the winemaker at Henry of Pelham as well. I mean, yeah, Ron is a great, like, so much knowledge there as well. And yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Daryl. Yeah, Niagara College. So really cool. Amazing. So
how about we review a little bit the lineup? So we have in the lineup, well, I spoke about the Riesling already, like at large, but also a under $15 on oak Chardonnay. Yeah, absolutely. Under 14.9. I know, I'm not sure exactly, but under 15 on oak Chardonnay. I give it a 90 points because I don't see it in any way, shape, or form that wine could be under 90 points. It's Chardonnay, but it's bright, it's crisp, it's so 2019, so expressive at the moment. This wine has hit his absolute peak, and it's just delicious for the price. I mean, how can you not go wrong with that? So that's the two wine, the Riesling and the oak Chard. On the red side, we have the Merlot, the Cab Merlot. We have the Gastronomy Shiraz, which calls Shiraz because they, from the 2020 vintage, the one were a little bigger. They were explaining to me that there was a little bit more Aussie style in terms of delivery, so that's why they called it the Gastronomy Shiraz. Gastronomy, I think it's a special program that they have with Les Marmitons. Les Marmitons, it's the group of chefs that they have at Niagara College. So this is the special wine for that specific group, which I thought it was great. Also a Pinot Noir. All of these wines are between 89 points and 92 points, 91 plus. And when we move to the Dean's List 3-pack, we talk about the Viognier and the Meritage. The Meritage, to me, like, again, I mentioned it earlier in the interview, but it is truly the most complex. That's a wine that I think that, like, when I tasted that wine, and I remember, I don't know if you remember when we tasted that wine, Mira. That was the subsequent one.
It was live. It was
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. We tasted that in the day that we hosted members from Oliver, from Osoyoos, Clay and Joanna. We had the 2012 Stratus Red, and it was the second bottle that we opened was the Meritage from the Dean's List at Niagara College, and it was as much of a talking point as the 2012 Stratus Red. So incredible wine again. And yeah, I mean,
we know you like your oak, Daryl. We know.
I sure do too. But there's always a place for a good on oak Chardonnay, especially
at that price point.
Especially at $14.90, $14.90, especially at that price point. But yeah, spectacular lineup, and more than that, that's the whole concept of supporting the whole industry and the future of the industry, and that incredible establishment and what they do at the Niagara College. So super happy, super proud to be part of that this week. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And hey, Mike, how's the your wine is opening up here?
It's nearly gone.
Hey, I mean,
yes, it's totally opening up. Did you decant it at all before, or just a little bit?
Inovino.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I Inovino that straight in that big glass over an hour ago.
Nice.
Over an hour ago, in there. So that was my way. Because
curve.
The Meritage Drink Curve. So 2020, I would say to me, open the first bottle. Daryl, you like your wine a little bit older and mature. So I would say the first bottle, the 27. I mean, it feels so long. It feels
We're in
like
2025.
Like, how about opening a freaking bottle right now? Jeez. No, I mean, I'm sure, like, definitely that wine in 2028 will be in is absolute, like, top. That's for sure.
I'm bringing you something to taste, Carl.
Okay, please do. By the way, that bubbles is so freaking amazing. So we had mussels over the weekend. I thought it was Friday night, and digging into our Taws and Redstone bottles, and geez, that is good. 2016 Blanc de Blanc from the Quarry Road Vineyard. This is a 93 points for sure. It has developed a little bit of that baked brioche, but still very Blanc de Blanc, full of energy. I absolutely love that sparkling wine. And it's been open now 5 days. The bubbles are still vibrant. I capped it with my little special rubber cork and just absolutely shine. I mean, a $54 sparkling 2016, great price point. Beautiful. So to come back to my Cab Franc here, this is Daniel Bonterin, owner of the Seven Direction, our tractor and vine artist, the Rosé Master, but also produced the K Little brand. And this in 2022, Daniel loved the potential of Cabernet Franc, so he made a K Little Cab Franc, 95% Cab Franc, 5% Merlot, and absolutely shiny. This wine is a baby; it's just crawling right now, but I absolutely love what's in there. This is probably, to me now, definitely 90 points. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. 90 point easy, 90 plus. Maybe we'll see a little later on. That might be like, this is trending close to 91. So at least 90 plus, but a good Cabernet Franc here from Daniel Bonterin at Seven Direction under the label of K Little Vintners, the 2022 vintage. I love it.
Carl Boucher, yes, I got reminded. Dylan's saying those mussels look insane. They were. So we forgot about how easy it is to throw together some mussels in white wine and butter and have them be phenomenal.
Little splash of cream. I like my mussel like poulette style, like they say in French, les moules poulettes, with just a little splash of cream. Bring that texture. I like it like that.
I love it. And yeah, if you can find a source for fresh mussels, like there's a place here in Penticton that brings them in a couple times a week. Man, that's an easy dinner. Some nice bread. Need a white
Super purple that wine. Really purple.
Well, this is what this is, Daryl. Something to trick Carl. So that was a big hint for you. Let me go get the bottle. You tell us what you think is happening in that glass, Carl.
Yeah, it's pretty shy on the nose. There's not a ton coming up. Super purple on the color. Not very deep, not very dark. So I wonder, is it a Gamay? No. Is it a Pinot? It's not.
I was gonna say you better taste it before you go too deep on the color.
I feel like if it's a juicy Cabernet Franc.
Yeah, very good.
Am I right?
You're very close.
I'm very close. This is approachable. There's nice spice. That's a little bit of the Black Forest cake, so that's where I got some Cap Franc into that. Yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe Meritage.
Yeah. No. And what would you say price wise?
$30.
Okay.
$30.
Do you think it's BC or Ontario?
Hey?
Do you think it's BC or Ontario?
I think it's Ontario.
Okay.
I
Because
think it's
that
on.
color threw you off a little bit. I find that like when there's like bigger varietals, sometimes the color throws you off in Ontario, but there's still
Yeah,
like,
but it's lighter in color, but the fruit extraction is right there. So I'd say it's a little bit like it's Ontario with a BC aspect to it on the flavor profile. So
interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you what this is. We've tasted them for like a few times now here on the live because we've got a lot of these wines to taste through. The power chord's nice. Yeah, so it is. You ready?
wait a minute. This is really good.
Yeah.
This is
I know.
really,
The
really,
color
really
throws you
good.
off. You
Right?
don't expect that level of flavor from that color.
No, and the
Hard to see.
and the lighting doesn't get like it's much lighter because if you see my glass here right now, like you can see through. So I would say, okay, it's Pinot Noir. Like at first,
From the
it's
color.
just from the color. I thought it was Pinot, but okay, it's too purple to be Pinot. It's not burgundy enough in terms of color to be a Pinot. So yeah, and probably is there Merlot in there? Probably.
Yeah.
Because every fucking week I got fucked over by Merlot, excuse my language. But
that's why
this is a really good wine, though. This is a really, really good wine. That's probably from Talls and Redstone because that you mentioned that we have a ton of them to go through. So I feel very comfortable with that. This is very good. I really enjoyed that. In terms of score, I'm not sure which label is it. I'm not sure if it's one of their premium, but to me, it tastes like a 92 points. I really love that.
So it is Redstone. You are correct. And what's exciting with this is it's a winery we have not yet featured in the club. Tawes and Redstone owned by the same owner. Very close to each other, right, Carl?
Mm-hmm.
Like right near each other. And they're like a 5-10 minute walk from where we're staying for the Pan Canadian. So just right around the corner. So I think there's a very good chance we're going to incorporate them in our plans.
Oh yeah, I'm talking with Danielle. I'm talking with their sales guy soon about a feature, and they're going to be included in our if stars align, obviously. And then there's and which one is this?
So it's the 2021 Cab Merlot.
That's Cab Merlot.
2021 was a cooler vintage. Am I right?
No. So
No?
it's not what happened with 2021. 2021, in a nutshell, numbers were on par with 2020
Okay.
until September hit. And
Ah, yeah.
September got super rainy. So I kind of threw a wrench to the winemaker. And if you didn't have the proper like leafing, like the proper canopy management and the proper viticulture plant during the year, like you may have, if you're not ripe mid-September when the rain hit, well, you may have a really rough go for harvest. But some of the vineyard side were completely ripe when the rain hit, so they just harvest and the wines are spectacular. But some of the wine got caught in the rain, so it was a really rough harvest. But yeah.
That's pretty, yeah. So, yeah, 2021 Cab Merlot.
So now we're talking about the $25, under $25 wine, probably.
I think it's 22. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like I'm not finding a lot of these wines they sent us anywhere, but I look at what the list he sent us. I think it's 22. So, Taz versus Redstone side by side. Yeah. Stacy and Jeff, I do think there's going to be quite a few of these little side tastings here and there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But this one is really good. Really good. For $22, I mean.
Price point, right?
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Soft, approachable, but there's a good depth of flavor. Do you have the mix in terms of from Merlot? Is it 50-50 split?
I'm not finding, because like if I go, it's not on their winery website. It's not coming up. But
it's maybe a pre-release. No. It can't be, because it's 21 vintage Cab Merlot entry level. So it's maybe LCBO exclusive, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because what I told Daniel, how I met Daniel Lafleur is at Taz. He's been with Taz and Redstone for a long time. It's when I went to Montreal to La Grande Dégustation to work with the wineries of Ontario, and featuring Dobbin for the week in Montreal, talking about the Dobbin's product, that Daniel was there, and I tasted a few of his wines, and we got chatting, and really cool guy. I knew the reputation of Taz. I knew that they own Redstone. I have barely tasted anything from them. He's like, hey, let me send you a case of wine. I want you to taste our product. If there's a fit, I would like to feature our winery into your club. And it's definitely, we emailed again this morning. He's absolutely fantastic guy. Great wine lineup. I mean, what we've tasted there, this is absolutely world-class Blanc de Blanc. Now we're talking Redstone, great value, fantastic delivery in the glass, approachable. So I'm a big fan. I'm absolutely a big fan.
So here's what I think it is, because I think this 2021 they sent us is a pre-release. On the website is 2020, and it looks like it's about $26.50 with tax. So we have the pre-tax price there, but side tastings are mandatory. I agree. Yeah. Yes.
Still under the price that I called $30 on the blind.
Okay. So speaking of great value, we have found lately that we are finding some phenomenal value in Niagara. I mean, Niagara College is a case in point. Probably one of the best kept secrets. It's definitely something to check out this week. And here we are finding some more with Redstone as well. So pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. Hey, and also we have some announcement. Should we wait to do it on email exclusively? But for the Pan Canadian.
So if you stayed this long, we should mention that the Pan Canadian coming up June 21st, and of course the whole weekend around it. That's what we're saying, that some of us are staying right near Redstone and Taz. So there'll definitely be a side tasting to do with that, Daryl and Stacy and Jeff. So the Pan Canadian is starting to shape up. We have who confirmed so far, Carl?
I have some cool stuff to talk about. So we just feature. Well, first We had that wine in our Pan Canadian Advent calendar. That wine ended up to be in my top 10 wine of the year for the second time in 4 years. So, and it's not from Niagara, it's from Ontario, and it's not Prince Edward County. So that leads us to Lake Erie, North Shore. So Mouchadre, Melissa Mouchadre has confirmed to me yesterday that she's going to make the trip, and we're going to have the 2020.
It's not 1,000% confirmed, but I mean, this is pretty cool. Mike LaPlante, the Average Wine Enthusiast, you introduced us to Mouchadre a good 3 years ago by sending us their Meritage. And now here we are 99% sure that she's probably going to make the trip out to be at the Pan Canadian with us.
Well, I mean, the way she was talking to me, she's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm in. So, yeah. So really, really cool. And I'm planning to, we're planning to do the 2020 Syrah, who's going to be tasted at the Pan Canadian. Also, I have not the wine confirmed, but Dobbin Estate, led by Anne Sperling and Peter Gamble, are going to be part of the lineup. And so that's another conversation that I had with Nathan Dobbin, which is the estate manager. I talked to Anne about it. And because another cool thing that's happening right now, we are taking the Silva Winery with their 2019 Nobreza, which is our top wine of the year this year. And we're taking them to Las Vegas with Dobbin Estate 2019 Chardonnay from an incredible wine tasting, a fundraiser led by the Cirque du Soleil and Guy Laliberté. It's called the One Drop Foundation, and they do their flagship fundraising with the who of Las Vegas at the MGM Grand in March. And Marc Nadeau, the owner of l'Académie du Vin, partner with Steven Spurrier, in Toronto, has approached us to bring 2 Canadian wineries to be part of that incredible international lineup.
For the first time ever, right? And they've been doing this fundraiser and this very high-profile wine event with some of the biggest wine names in the world for quite a while, a few many years. And this is the first time they'll have a Canadian wine side by side those international icons.
Well, they did in Toronto for the first time with Leaning Post in November, which was the very first event. Yeah, and but now outside of Canada is the very first time that there's Canadian wines who are going to be featured in this incredible lineup of international wines. So this is really fantastic. So Dobbin, congratulations, Anne Sperling, Peter Gamble, Nathan Dobbin, congrats the 2019 Chardonnay, and congrats to Richard De Silva and Twyla De Silva and the team at the De Silva Winery here on the Naramata Bench. The 2019 Nobreza will travel with us at the MGM Grand for one of the biggest wine fundraiser of the year. So yeah, really, really cool. I'm so thrilled about that.
Very exciting. Yeah.
So
very good.
Very good.
This time next week, hopefully we'll have a teaser for you of our little TV series that's premiering this fall in Alberta and BC on the TELUS network, and also available on YouTube for everyone else. So it'll be great. So yeah, lots of things going on. We're putting Canadian wines on the map. We super appreciate all the support lately of, buy local, buy Canadian. That's what we've been all about for 5 years now. And I think we got other things coming up. Hey, Carl, we got to pick our wineries of the year for last year. That is coming soon. And we also are going to reveal the logo for the 5th anniversary year, which will be flying out very soon. You guys did an amazing job helping us with that. Thank you.
Yeah, and also stay tuned. You're gonna hear some announcement about the Pan Canadian, about the new wineries who are on board. So and joining us traveling across the country. So we have Benjamin Bridge, who Jean Benoit already told me that he's in. Oh yeah. So there's a bunch of confirmation. We're going to confirm some wine. The wines attached to each winery. I'm thinking about the different concept for the format, which is like taking shape in my head right now. So yeah.
It's a lot of information, really good information. It's a lot of legendary people in one place and legendary wines to taste all at once. So, got to make sure that all works together like a seamless, beautiful thing. So
yeah, and keep supporting Canadian wines. If you know some of your friends, tell them about Carl's Wine Club, because we love having new members. We love growing that community. Send us our way. It's free to join. So yeah, we love you guys. It's been another great week. Niagara College Teaching Winery Week, $110 for a 6-pack of incredible wine. So Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Mira Boucher.
Carl Boucher, cheers, guys. Let's go have some beef stew. That's what we're doing with all these nice Cab Merlots. Here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers.